Hey, good morning, Joe and Dr. Torres. How are you?
Great. Good morning to you.
Good. I'm just going to be recording.
Okay.
So I'll just start with you, Joe. I know you got the All-Star game coming up. Could you possibly see an Indians-Cubbies World Series?
It's a fair question, and I think a good question. The Cubs have been kind of the favorite pick for everybody, but now the Indians are making noise. I mean, when you consider winning a dozen games in a row, that's going to get anybody's attention. But it's not just winning games; it's the makeup of the team, young arms, talented lineup, good manager, which people don't talk about, but he's won 2 World Series with the Boston Red Sox of all teams, and Terry Francona. So yeah, I love the Cubs in the National League as far as their talent is concerned, and Cleveland is right now showing to be the better young team that the American League has to offer. They're making the American League Central a runaway right now.
Well, Joe, you see these guys, you've been out there for your career, and you see all these guys out there under the sun and everything, and we know the sun is good, it can be dangerous. So tell us how you got involved in this skin cancer awareness campaign.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good point. You know, my life, my work life, it's really a lot of times involving people in the sun. It's not just the athletes, it's the fans, the spectators, golf, baseball, football. But yeah, I see it with athletes that have gotten smarter and smarter as the years have gone on. My mom was diagnosed with melanoma a few years back. She detected it early, got it taken care of, and thankfully she's okay. But it's a serious situation. And, as I sit here next to a dermatologist and a physician who can go through all the statistics, it's alarming at what rate skin cancer is hitting this nation. And it's something that when they asked me to be involved with it, I jumped at the chance.
Well, Dr. Torres, how common is skin cancer, and is that a danger for everyone? Can anyone get skin cancer?
Absolutely. So, skin cancer is the most common skin cancer in the United States. 8,500 people a year are diagnosed, 8,500 people a day are diagnosed with skin cancer, and 1 out of every 5 Americans will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. And the sad part is that 1 person dies every hour from melanoma. And melanoma can affect both fair-skinned individuals and people with skin of color. So, and in fact, the problem we have is that with people with skin of color, they tend to be diagnosed later, so the end result is that the skin cancer is more severe. Yet, the high risk factor for skin cancer, which is ultraviolet light from the sun or from sun lamps, such as tanning parlors, is preventable. So one thing to do is to avoid that. The other thing is the American Academy of Dermatology recommends the following steps when you're outdoors. Number 1 is seek shade, which especially between the hours between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. when the sun is strongest. 2, when you're out there, use protective clothing like long sleeves, a wide-brimmed hat, and sunglasses. And if you have exposed skin, then use sunscreen that's basically broad spectrum, water resistant with an SPF greater than 30, and reapply it every 2 hours or whenever you swim or you sweat excessively. But just as important as doing those things to prevent the skin cancer is for you to spot the skin cancer. Because if you spot skin cancer early, it can be highly treatable, including melanoma. So what you need to do is make it a point of making sure your skin looks good by doing frequent self-exams. If you can, get together with a partner and have the partner help you look at your back and you look at their back, so you get each other's back, and look for the signs and symptoms of skin cancer, because you can spot the warning signs of melanoma and the warning signs of an abnormal mole. So for example, you look at what are called the ABCDs. Is it the spot asymmetric, the 2 sides don't match? Are the borders fuzzy or hard to make out? Is the color changing? Is the diameter more than 6 millimeters, which is what is the size we usually pick up a melanoma? That's the size of a pencil eraser, but it can be smaller. But lastly is, does the mole look different than other moles on your body? Is it changing, itching, bleeding? If it is, then you should make an appointment to see a board-certified dermatologist so they can evaluate you. And in addition to that, go ahead and go to the website spotme.org, which will give you a lot more information as it relates to skin cancer. And remember that men over 50 are at high risk. So we need to take care of ourselves and watch about that.
Well, it's so funny you mentioned the men over 50 aspect of it, too, because I'm one of these guys that, I jog, I take my shirt off and everything. And when I went to a doctor recently, yeah, she noticed a spot on my back, but said it wasn't anything. But I was kind of surprised that she took that path anyway and just wanted to look at it. So it's something that men over 50 really need to pay attention to.
Exactly, and we've done surveys, and it's shown that the public still needs to learn more about the damage that ultraviolet light causes, but men especially have to learn more. And in the surveys, it shows that only about 56% of men versus 76% of women realize that a tan isn't healthy, and only about 54% of men versus 70% of women recognize that a base tan doesn't protect you. So the key point is basically to protect yourself, do frequent exams, and go out there, go to the spotme.org, get more information in that regard.
That's great information. And Joe, before I let you go, I got to ask you something. Did you ever think you would hear champions in Cleveland ever?
Well, my dad's family and my dad was from Cleveland, so I always had them kind of over there, and it's been, 52 years? And now you've got the Cavs winning, and you've got the Cleveland Indians absolutely red hot. So, good for them. And, maybe we'll be there in October, and they'll have 2 this year.
Well, Joe, thanks for joining us and for all this good information. Dr. Torres, thanks for joining us. We'll check out that website, spotme.org.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.